Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning, co-host. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are
Well,
you?
happy Sunday. I'm doing fine. Happy Sunday to you. I went
Awesome.
to church today
Amen.
to watch my grandson receive something about his graduation. He graduated in high school, so the church gave him some gifts,
An
and
accolade.
he opened yeah, some accolade, and he opened up the service for the church. It was kind of interesting. Part of the reason that one of several reasons this afternoon they have my family is having a gathering for him, and so we'll all have to be there. And
Fantastic.
so
Well,
this
my
is part of
applause to your
my
family.
very very busy day, sir. Um,
That's awesome.
I'd like to let you know, Joel, that I welcome you back from the trip that you went to. Um,
But thank
Something
you.
that
Thank you. Went
impressed
to New York
me.
City and I have
Yeah.
survived.
Oh my God, you need to be given a Medal of Honor for coming back. To escape in New York, you're going to be given a medal. Amazing. It's
Mhm.
not exactly,
It's not the
uh,
city it used to be.
yeah. Well, just to do a little offshoot, what part of New York did you go to?
I was in the Bronx and I was visiting my son. He's a radiology technician. Very proud of him.
Oh,
He
oh,
loves his
very proud.
craft. You know, yes.
Very proud. Well, glad you're back. No, nobody attacked you, robbed you. And if anybody's worried about that's what you get in New York, yes, that's what you get in New York. You either get attacked,
Well, I know how to
robbed,
bob and
or
weave. So.
yeah, bob and weave in New York. That's how you go to New York, bobbing and weaving. Um, Tomorrow is a holiday for everybody, and I really say good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everybody, no matter where you are in the world. This is Chief OBDK and my co-host, Joel Spears. This we
Hello,
just want you
everyone.
to know. We want you to know that we missed you last week and we love you. And thank you so much for coming back. Um, but we want, Joel, I just want everybody to know that we love them. Everybody in the world. There's an awful lot of things that are still going on in the world. And I just want to tidy up on certain things, certain issues that I know that our listeners are waiting to hear. I know that they are eager to participate when we go live. We will be going live. We'll get all that straightened out very soon, and then you'll be invited to come into the studio with us and you know become a participant and talk, ask questions, and hopefully everybody will understand what you're saying. Um, Hot, very hot in here in Maryland and Oxon Hill. Um, it's I don't know. I think it's about 82 or 85 degrees. So for those of you like those people that are in Sweden who have a problem with heat, they seem not to like heat at all. Swedish people, Scandinavians, they don't like heat. You would think that they want heat, but no, they don't. So here's the situation, Joel. Um, the election process is still going on here in the United States. Big, big argument between the two presidential incumbents. And as we during our last broadcast, we talked about Hasselbrook and Trump. What is that guy's name? The for the Senate candidate. What's his name? Throne. The bottom line is the black woman beat the white guy. The man spent over $60 million trying to buy the election. And I think that a lot of people didn't exactly like the name he called us, which was what was it? Gold digger? What was that he called us,
Jigaboo.
Joel? Huh?
Jigaboo.
Boogaboos. Jigaboos,
Jigaboo.
yeah, you know. So I suspect that the African Americans did not like the jigaboo label, or mistakenly that he says he mistook and just spoke uh, out of text. But we used the votes, despite his more than $60 million that he spent. He lost. Couple of good
Well,
news.
I could have used
The
I could have
young
used a little bit of that money. I would have voted for him.
man, oh man, we could have used some of that money. Oh my God. We noticed that Tim Scott, that young boy, what's his name, was in Maryland, won the mayoralship, won re-election to mayor. And then the thing about those people that run for mayors in Baltimore City in a primary, once you win the primary, you win the general election. That's it. But there's still a general election. It just seems that the person that is going to be running on the Republican side don't have what do they call it? She doesn't have very much chance of winning, and she doesn't have David Throne's money either. So there you go. So she's most likely not going to win. And congratulations to the people in Baltimore City for trusting a young man to continue his work as mayor. I commend all of you for, what the lady that ran against him, she lost. And the method that she used to run against him was not a good one. So, she was a big thief. Excuse me. Um, she stole some money or gift cards. So, you know,
Misappropriated.
people are not very forgiving about that, So, then when it came time to vote, uh, they went the other way and said, vote the other guy. Even though he's a young man, he's had one term, but that other lady, she stole gift cards that was designed and made for the youth to be given to um, people in need. $25 gift cards, $50 gift card. Give it to a lady, or to buy some food or whatever. Instead, she used it to go and buy Coach. And but she forgot that those people that needed that food also do what? They vote. And when it's time for vote, they say no. So Sheila Dixon is out. Bingo. I didn't want to mention her name, Sheila Dixon, but I didn't. Well, what the heck? So tomorrow is Memorial Day in America. Everybody's doing cookout, celebrating, uh, and having. Well, maybe not everybody, because there's a lot of influx of illegal immigrants floating inside the country, just coming in. And the Biden administration have decided that once they can get past the alligators and the crocodiles and the water in Texas and come inside the United States, once they can get in, if you make it in, they're not going to give you a hand to get over here. But, if you can swim your way in, crawl, fly, any way that you can illegally come into the United States, they're going to give you an ID card. And of course, the Democratic intention is for them to use that ID card to give to them, so that they can vote. And that's what the ID card, and that was just announced. And of course, Biden is still playing around with the student debt. Joel, I'm sure that you're not going to say anything about that because you're not happy about that. He's making promises, and you can see that the nature of his promises, Joel, is that I'll give you a relief if you vote for me. What do you think?
Yeah, that's buying votes. Let's face it. Okay, so let's look at people who didn't go to college. I think in Maryland alone, 20% of the workforce have a college degree. So you're going to have 80% of the workforce pay for the tuition of 20%.
Unbelievable.
Sounds kind of unfair. So you decided to go get a degree in an area that has a 90% unemployment. That's not my
Unemployment.
fault. You know,
Not.
yes. So yeah, so the vast majority of people, there are some majors. I mean, if you're going into the medical field, they're still graduating
Hmm.
with crushing debt, but they make great money. But if you're going into some of these fields of, getting degrees in philosophy, social studies, things like this, we call that a degree of
Anthropology.
employment. You
You
know,
know. Yeah.
yeah, you know,
What are you going? Yeah. What are you
you're
going to do
not
with
going
that?
to, if you're going for the pure thought of it. Yeah. So if you're going for the pure thought of getting an education, does that invoke then automatically a good living wage? That ship has sailed. We no longer as a society require, and haven't really for a long time, require people with a college education to be the only route. Um,
Mm.
for some reason, here we go again. We fed the story to black folks. If you don't have a
Hmm.
college degree, you're not worth it. I've seen people who have gone into the labor jobs and they're making wonderful livings. My best friend never stepped foot in the college. He went straight into electrical school, did a
Hmm.
stint in the Navy, and he
Yes.
now owns 3 apartment buildings. He
Hmm.
is literally very wealthy, and you wouldn't know it by the way that he dresses until you go into his house and you see, okay, this guy's living kind of nice. Versus
The
my
brother
friends
done well. He's
who
done
went
well.
and
Yeah.
oh, he, and has never stepped foot and doesn't have a college, and he's being asked to pay the debt of the people who made a choice, and their choice didn't necessarily work out.
I love the
You know,
research that you did, and you came up with this cartoon. People, there was a guy who had to pay taxes. He works, and after he pays his tax to the government, um, whatever amount of money that's left over, he uses that money to go to buy food for his family, and he pays more money, more taxes on that. And if he puts his money in the bank for savings, the interest comes up, and he's got to pay interest on the money he tried to save. Uh, what economically, Joel? How in the world are these students that are graduating from universities with a ton of bill going to be able to make it? How will they make it?
our economy has been in a decline for some time. And it's a shell game now where they're pretty much the government continues to become ravenous. It wants more and more tax money from people who don't have it, you know. And they're coming up with these schemes. What's this new bag tax when you go in, but they don't call it a bag tax. I keep forget what they call it. They've given it a nice name so that it doesn't embarrass the politicians,
Yeah, it's taxing me
and
bad.
yeah, but it's a tax. That's exactly what it is. So they tax us literally on our paycheck. Then they tax the money that from our paycheck on the food and the items we buy. And then when we die, they tax us again. And so basically, it's a scam. You've never owned anything. You've
So
worked your
basically,
butt off,
you're
and
working
at
for
the end
free,
of 40 years, you're broke.
and you're working for
Yeah.
free.
Yes,
But that's
so
interesting.
we run around, and most Americans don't travel, so we don't have any comparison. Is it this way in other parts of the world? We have been told that we're in the best economy in the world, yet, if I've talked to people from Mexico, I've talked to people from different parts of the world and visited those places. They own the property. And they don't have to work 40, 50 years only to live in poverty for the last 10 to 20 years of their life.
Let me
What are
shift
we doing?
something to you that is uh, I mean, he's starting to stick his head out, and I don't know how the battle or how those people say. Barack Obama is coming back out. His wife is coming out. Clinton is coming out. His wife is coming out. I think Clinton's got Monica Lewinsky in the pocket, but he's coming out. And these people are now coming out and campaigning. Liz, what is that woman's name? That's Elizabeth somebody. And they are all going, making the effort to try to beg the public not to vote for Donald Trump. But they never say, we don't want you to vote for Donald Trump, but they never say vote for Biden. They're just telling people don't vote for Donald Trump. Joel, you've been in this business. What does that mean?
The original pact of the Democratic Party with Biden was, Biden even said to him, he says, look, I you remember back in the beginning, go back into the beginning of all this. Biden said, I don't really want to run. I'm cool. I'm fine. Let me just sit in retirement. I'm done. And they twisted his arm. They gave him, I don't know what it was, but he decided that he was going to then run. And because the Democratic Party had built up such an opposition to Trump, it was pretty much an easy kill. I don't know if they say power corrupts. I think he got into the presidency and has decided or forgot that he was supposed to step aside.
I'll be honest with you. I say something to my veterans. I am a veteran. To all my veterans, I wish you to stay strong and be and vote the right direction. That's my direction. I'm voting for Donald Trump, whether anybody like it or not. But let me ask you, there's all kinds of speculation that Donald Trump is going to go to jail. And, they want him to spend a night or a week or a month for something he did not do. And every black person in this country knows about going to jail for things that we did not do. So, Joel, what you're thinking about this? Would most people still vote for Donald Trump if they incarcerated him?
Well, I remember as a kid watching all those old Westerns. And in the Western, there was always that one sheriff in some small town. And he would say, well, we caught you. First, what we're gonna do is give you a wonderful trial. And after your fair trial, we're going to hang you. So I have reminiscence of that. I think that it's kind of almost insulting as a voter because it's obvious that they are literally breaking the law and making it up as they can, and they are flinging any kind of poop they can out there to figure out a way to make him ineligible. So the dilemma becomes, if they tell us that we're supposed to be the people who elect the president, and then you remove that person from the from us to make that choice, then do we really have a democracy still? Has our democracy gone away without one shot fired?
So you think democracy has been rewritten? Has it been redesigned?
I think it's been stolen. Depending, I've been in this country a while, and I've seen it morph into many different fads. This current fad of socialism above all scares me because they got to drink punt. Many of our kids are no longer literate. We have a 12% literacy rate now coming out of high school. The kids can't read, write, and do math. So they got them. What's their plan? There's no jobs. There's no education. And so they give everybody a cell phone and some great music. And where are we going from there? We've not prepared ourselves for a future.
I know some people are going to get a little annoyed behind this, but I want to ask you. I mean, educating our children. Now, I'm talking about black and white now. Educating black children in this country It's the responsibility of black people. Is it not the responsibility
Of
of
course.
black people to educate their
Well,
children? Okay, so if white people told us that they were going to do the educating for black people, all the way from Reconstruction, slavery, and all of that thing, what did we do wrong to white people to stop educating, reading, writing, mathematics
wow.
to black children? What did black people do to them?
That's an excellent question. When you look at the data, what was it, 1958, Brown versus Board of Education. The federal
Right.
government says, hey, segregation is wrong. It's damaging to black children. And it was
Mm-hmm.
proven very eloquently by Thurgood Marshall and all the other. Now we advance forward. What has that been, 60 years? We now look at it
Yeah.
and what percentage of black children are still in segregated schools. So that never happened. We have never been educated. As a matter of fact, there was an explosion of private schools, which just happened to be majority white and maybe one black kid in the back of the classroom. So we've advanced backwards.
Yeah. Well, well, given that scenario, and given the fact that the reality of it all, how truthful it is, what you have said is very truthful and very serious. Now we're in competition with illegal immigrants all over the country. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a fair question to you, Joel, but it's a fair question to. I think it's a fair question to every living black person in this country. What are we going to do to restore our children, our students in the educational field? What are we going to do about it? We know the problem. How do we
I think that there
begin
is
to even
I think that there is a
go ahead, Joel?
solution, but I'm not sure that I don't think we're mature enough yet and brave enough yet to do it without the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Well, the
Tell me
Democratic Party has really failed us tremendously when you go to the cities that they control, and it's a
Mhm.
disaster. You know, um,
Yes.
look at how the Board of Education here in Baltimore is paying the CEO, who is a black woman, $300,000-$400,000 a year. She's getting all raise after raise, and the productivity of the children is in a disastrous decline. So what is she
Wow.
getting a raise for? Is she getting a raise because she's failed our kids? So what is that all about? Um,
Maybe that's what it was. You give them money to do the wrong thing,
I'm not a
like Fannie
conspiracy
Willis
person,
in
but
Georgia.
it sure does fit.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Just like Fannie Willis in
so
Georgia.
I am,
Pay her.
yeah,
Anyway, it's the same thing. I got you now. I really understand what you, and I hope that the rest of the people that are listening to us will talk about it. Let's talk about it. Folks, let's be honest about it. There are certain things that we have to talk about. The undereducating of our children, we got to talk about it. Talk about what to do about it. And Joel have already laid out some ideas of how we're going to be able to correct, change, amend it, so that we can now educate our own children. Can't blame white people for everything that we do wrong or that is not happening to us. Can't just blame them all. We don't have jobs. We got to blame them all. But on the other hand, if you stop being creative, and black people are very creative, if we stop being creative and create our own jobs, will the white people leave us alone? Or will they come and do that destruction they have done so many times in many places? Chicago, Milwaukee, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. Anytime the black people come up with an innovative idea, they either steal it or they destroy it. What say you, my brother?
well, it's kind of like anything else. Malcolm X always used to say, if you go to the person who hates you, who has abused you, and then tell them to save me, rescue me, help me to become equal to you, What is their motivation? That's probably not going to happen, and at least in our case, it hasn't. Um, what
We'll
are
touch
the
another line.
churches used to be
Go ahead.
the center point of Black community? Why aren't they
Uh-huh.
opening schools? Why aren't they doing the things that actually help promote a successful culture? I
Mm-hmm.
am worried that we are more fractionalized than we have ever been.
Mm, my goodness. I know that this is still a subject that we have continuously been broadcasting about, and we need to talk about it. Let's be honest, Black people, wherever you are. You can be in Egypt, you can be in Nigeria, you can be in Kenya. Joel, we never talk about Black people in Africa being educated by the slave masters, changing the
Mm.
language, French. But of course, even Burkina Faso have kicked them out. Uh, they are now about Mali, uh, Sierra Leone. These African countries have kicked people out. But we will at some point talk about the African education. No Africans can come to America with a degree, with a law degree, a doctoral degree that they obtained in Africa. And when they come here, they throw it in the trash. It's useless.
However, however, I will tell you, as a person who worked at the college level, here's the secret that no one will tell you: Africans outscore the Asians. When they come into the engineering and the medical field, the
Mm-hmm.
Asians and the African-born Africans are par, and in many cases, the Africans are busting the curves. So, despite all that has been done to set them back, they flourish. Not saying it's
Why
easy,
don't they stay
but
home then?
you know, the,
I mean, engineers, why can't they just stay in Africa and use that education that they received, European education that they received, and use it to develop the country? Why did they come out of it? You're getting a degree,
they hear the
engineering,
they hear the same
doctorate, and
propaganda that you and I hear. America promotes itself through its movies. The movies have been a wonderful propaganda tool for the United States. I mean,
yeah,
this
yeah.
place looks like a dreamland, and so when you are
Mm-hmm.
growing up and you're looking for success, where are you going to do it? Are you going to go back to a village that doesn't have electricity 20 hours of the day, or are you going to go to New York and Los Angeles and all these different places that have prosperous lifestyle? That's
We're
not
going to
fair to
talk
them.
about it, Joel. We're really going to talk about it because I can see that there are now some African leaders. They're younger, they're more educated, and they're now talking about Africa first. Africa for Africans. Natural resources, theirs. And so all the thieves, European thieves that are in Africa stealing, Africans are now engaged in Africa first. The in South Africa, Malema. This young man is blowing the entire world, the mind of the world, and trying to be at the same table with the European thieves. Uh, so we need to really give them some prompt and expose them more as what they are talking about. We're right about now, almost 30 minutes into this program, my brother. And the thing that we had planned to talk about was the prison system in America. Well, it's worldly known, globally known, that America has more Black people incarcerated in their prisons, one of the biggest business industries in the world. Uh, and uh, Set us off, Joel, next week when we can talk about it. Um, why? I mean, I know the research that you've done and I have done indicates that given the population of black people in this country, and given the population of black people incarcerated, why such a big disparity? I mean, we're a small number of people compared to 350 million people in America, and we're only 40 million, and we got more black people, more of our people in jail. What have set us up, Joel? What do you think?
Well, the retirement plan for the black community, of unfortunately, at least for black males, generally tends to be incarceration or death. Let's face it. When our parents were coming along and they had struggled to be included into the American economic system, they finally made it into the factory work. And then, unfortunately, about 30 years into that, the factory owners decided, hey, I can get better slave, labor in Asia and different parts of the world, and just sell it back to the Americans. And it has worked. However, it has gutted the opportunity that we talked about earlier for Black Americans. What is the alternative?
Well, I'm going to cut you off, Joel. You're trying to, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody else is really, truly listening. Are you trying to say that the reason the reason for the incarceration of so many black men is for free labor?
Why not? Your license plate, how much did it cost you? Where is it made? There's a lot of right? So anytime you walk out of your house and you look at a license plate that is done with slave labor, you have to understand that if so you have all these people who are doing 20 and 30 up to life imprisonment. It's a labor force, and we've all seen the movies, and for those kinds of prisons, I believe that they're paying them. I think the most you can get in some of these states is maybe somewhere around $1 an hour.
Well, here you go again.
So
the economics of the incarcerated black man. How much money do they pay to be in jail?
Right. The average. They keep claiming that the United States spend around $40,000 a year to incarcerate one prisoner. And when you sit back and think about it, what is the value of that prisoner? To the prison industrial complex. They're worth a lot of money because they're making money off of the slave labor. They're making money off of all the products for supporting the lives of these incarcerated people. So it's an entire industry, just like war. Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex, which keeps us in war constantly. And there's also that same belief in the prison system. The black community does not have an economic system. So therefore, it's easy to incarcerate them because everything that they do to make money is illegal. If everything that you do to make money is illegal, all they got to do is just...
That's what
there's literally no hope. And right, go into any major city now and drive down the streets and look into those houses and say, what's the future of these children here? I don't see any white faces. I don't see any Asian faces. I only see us. And that's not by accident. That seems to be what. So they've pretty much told us without saying it out loud that you're on your own. And unfortunately, we haven't taken up.
And Joel, as we continue to work on this issue and try and continue to talk about it, and we will bring some more people into our broadcast to talk more about it. I have some mind-boggling ideas that I discussed with a former congressman in New Jersey. He passed on, may God bless his soul. And we spoke about exchanging black people from prison system in the United States as laborers in Africa. that the African governors, leaderships will actually, I don't want to use the word, but buy back the slave. I mean, after all, when China goes to Africa to construct a bridge, construct a railroad, they bring their own employees to Africa to do the work. They don't actually use some, they use some people from the continent, but somewhere down the line, we need to talk about African leaderships with all the properties and land in all of Africa, all 54 countries, how to get back, how to get those black people. I believe it's 1.3 of 1.4 million, the largest in the world, incarceration of black people, the largest in the world. How do we get them back out? How do we get them? Should we talk about that now, or should we set that as a plan to talk about?
Well, I think that you set the pace, and I will follow. Um, I think that that brings to mind many things. I think that the first thing you should need to do is set a course of success, like we do all the other children in this society.
Mm-hmm.
White America, Asian America, Latino America have a plan for their children. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to literally send our kids to schools that don't work. They come
It's in the
home,
plan.
and what kind of product is that? Yes.
Yeah, it's in the plan.
So you have to get to these
They
kids
come with a plan.
before.
Look at the Indians. The Indians, when they come to America, they come with a plan. Uh, South Americans and some of them, Asians, when they come here, they come with a plan. That's why you don't find black people working in Chinese restaurants, but you eat it. Ugh. They come
And
with a
where are those
plan.
restaurants located? When you go into
Right in the black
the black
community.
community, we are prohibited from working in those businesses who are owned by the Asians, the Indians, the Pakistani. All these different groups will employ their own, take money from the community, and then tell us we can't work there. Is that our fault? I
Is
think that
that our
we need
fault?
to look at, it is our fault if we are not setting up and preparing our children to take over the reins of society. If you let
Mm,
your kid go outside and he gets shot up at 10 o'clock at night, whose fault is that? Why was your
it's
kid
our fault.
outside at 10 o'clock at night with a gun?
Exactly.
I would like to think that
With a gun.
our parents' generation would never have put up with that, and
No,
neither
no,
should
no.
we.
Yes. And neither should the parents of tomorrow. Well, my brother, I think
We're in trouble.
we're coming close to the end of this broadcast, so that we don't go too far over and people lose their mind. I went to church today, and a pastor, uh, and I hope that our engineers and technicians will put a portion of what he preached about. I liked it. I'm not a very religious person, Joel. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Jesus Christ lover. Forget about that. That's out of my league. I don't like it. Don't want it. And those people that don't like me for saying that, that's your business. But this pastor spoke about God. I accept that. He spoke about the
Mhm.
spirit of God, the strength of God. That God is watching everything that we're doing. And the black people, it was, the church is predominantly black. The drummer is a black guy. The piano player is a black guy. The secondary fourth person, all the deacons are black, and it was a black church. I mean, his sermon was so strong. Gee, they ran out of tissues. People were crying. But the message itself, not so much a messenger. His message, in my view, spoke to people in Africa, people in despair, people who don't think that God is watching, people who don't think that God is guiding them, people who don't think that God knows what's going on, people that don't believe at all in God, period. His message was so powerful and so strong that I have set the pace now. I've set the, I'm going to be talking to him. We're going to put our camera in front of him to talk to black people in Africa, because there is a difference between how black preachers, the good ones, there's some bad ones, like Jake, whatever that guy's name. Well, yeah, I'm calling him out. I'm calling him out. What is TJ Jake? You know,
Maybe.
Negro, what's your name? Anyway, him. Disgraceful guy. They're very bad what I've been hearing about what he did. But there is a major difference between the good pastors, and I think that Morning Star Baptist Church has a pastor. Then when you hear him speak, I'm going to do my best to drag you to this guy's church. When you hear what this man's message to the audience, it moves you. And I believe that the problem that exists in all of Africa, in the land, the language, in the message, let me see, in all of 54 countries, because when I keep saying Africa, I don't want people to think that that's one country. No, it's not. There's a difference. His message was exceptionally strong. And I think of all the children that were killed in Biafra Nigerian war. And Biafra still exists. Biafra is alive. The ADF, which is called Alibo Development Foundation, is a moving mechanism, it's a moving system now. And that it's not just an individual who is a member of it, but there are groups of individuals from various countries that are now joining ADF. Of course, with the ADF administrators bringing them in. Joel, I don't understand some people sometimes. Why in the world would you see a good organization and want to take it over, instead of joining the people that started the organization and moved the entire, like a tsunami, move it forward? Instead, they come up with
Well,
this
there's an
stupid
old
thing. Say again.
there's an old African saying, and hopefully I'll say it close to being right. It says, "When you have a picnic, eventually the flies will come." And I think whenever you have a political movement, if you're not careful, it will be contaminated by those who have an altered agenda.
We
You
also
can
have
even look
another saying.
at.
We also have if a fly lands on a corpse, it goes in the grave with the corpse.
Well, sure. I mean, there's a strong look at. I talked to some of the older generation who grew up strong in the Democratic Party, and they're so disenchanted. They said, they don't recognize it as the party that they joined. It's become Marxist, socialist. You have people who are literally claiming to be Democrats, but they're far from it, and that their policies that have been
Yeah,
disastrous
well,
around the world have now landed in our communities.
yeah, well, I feel sorry for them, and then I don't feel sorry for them, because they should be able to recognize when Marxism comes into the picture. I mean, black people were Republicans from the beginning. When the Democratic
Yes.
Party and the Republicans established themselves, black people joined the Republican Party. After all, what was the Civil War about? Was it not the Republicans that saved black people from it? What's the problem with black people thinking or remembering? How can they just forget something like that? And then, of course, I know what you're thinking, Joel. I know how the Democrats got black people. But I think you should go ahead and close this segment up by repeating what I know that you're going to repeat. How did the Democratic people capture black people? Tell the world, Joel.
Well, it is what it is. When the Democrats come to my house, I'm sure many of the people relate to them, they'll tell you, hey, if you let the opposing party come in, they're going to cut your welfare. And that's all
Uh-oh.
they need to hear. They're
Hello.
4 and 5. Some people, do you realize that there are families now that are 3, 4, and 5 generations into welfare support? They've never
Three,
had a
four,
nuclear family.
five
Uh,
generations.
yes.
When do we stop? When do we, I mean,
So
that's great grandmother,
that the
great great
only
great
world they know
grandpapa.
is the world of please help me. If someone says please
Hmm.
help me and they have a hand out, and you tell them we're about to put nothing into that hand, that's a problem. And
Well,
the Democratic Party has been masterful in making sure that we understand in the Black community that your funds are going to be cut off. You're going to starve to death. You're going to lose your benefits. You're going to be in the in a house with no heat. And that's all they need to hear. And they vote based on fear,
and
not
they got
about
black people telling
opportunities.
white people the same thing.
Yes, just don't touch my welfare, and I'm good.
My brothers and my sisters all over the world, this is Chief Obidike and my co-host Joel Spears. Joel Spears, spare nobody. He'll let you know the truth, like it or not. Like it or not. But we need to talk about these things. We're going to end this program today. We've already into the 46 minutes of it. And I think that's more than enough because we're going to add some more commercials to it. I think one of them I have in my pocket somewhere. But some of the topics that we're going to be following up with, we're going to be following up with the political process. We're going to be following up with the educational issue, continuous, because there's so many graduate students running around all over the place, trying to find jobs, and there's so many students that have been graduated from before, still running around looking for a job, apartment, a car, and still can't find it. We're going to be talking about the unemployment issue in this country. We're going to be talking about the political process and how dirty it has become, how power, hunger, just want to be the power, the controller of human beings. No matter what you do, lie, cheat, fornicate, anything, just lie about the opponent. Just don't tell the truth. Cost them money. Take him anywhere. Threaten to jail him. Anything that you can do because you want to control this country. It's a huge country. We like to talk about the price of gas, the price of eggs. Can you believe it? We don't even eat eggs anymore. I'm looking for pigeon eggs. They're smaller, but it's free. And so I had some duck eggs. That was not good either. It just somehow didn't taste right. So there's so much that we're going to be talking about. And of course, the big issue that we're going to be talking about is the prison system. We got to talk more about that. My dear brothers and sisters all over the world, this is Let's Talk About It. Hey, let's talk about it. If it's there to talk
Amen.
about, we're going to talk about it, and you will provide a solution. You, that's correct. You, mama, you, daddy, sitting and listening to us, wherever you are, you're the one who's going to provide a solution to our educational miseducation, to our unemployment, to the immigration issue. Look, there's 40 million of us in this country, and we're in trouble, whether we like it or not. So until the next time, my dear brother, this is Chief Obidike. We're coming to you from the New Harbor Studio in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Join us. Send a text. Like us. Ring the bell because we have so much to bring to you. And much of it is we're talking to you from wisdom side. A lot of people talk to you from other sides. We talk to you from experience side. We are not actually talking to you. We're trying to debate and discuss and dialogue with you on the problems that is impacting on us as a people, and we want your views. Until the next time, my brother, co-host, God bless you. We'll be seeing you soon.
Sir. All right.
To the rest of you in the world,
And you as well.
God bless you. Take care of yourself. Be careful. Watch your children, please. Stop all of their hijacking and oh my God, the things that they're doing. It's unbelievable. 10 and 12 years old. Not only hijacking cars, but they're kidnapping people. Kidnapping here in America. I mean, there's nobody want to say it, but we're saying it because we need to talk about it and find a solution. Until the next time, Chief Obidike with my co-host Joel Spears. Hey, let's talk about it. Hey, Bob.